hear it, a resistance. You can hear it in the distance if you listen, persistence. So what we fighting for? The day when you ain't even gotta fight no more, and that's the vision risen up, the heights we soar. I hope I opened up a can of worms with all these anecdotes, cause you can never candy coat the truth. And once you know it proved, then you can't ignore. You'll equip them with this handy quote. At the risk of sounding ridiculous, true revolutionaries got about feelings of love. Give 100%. Demolish buildings, spilling civilians' blood.
I'd rather die than live around the bench. For every victory, there's a 50 times a setback. For every revolution, there's a death trap. And every time I see police attacking with a taser, gonna protest it, it's down already on the ground. My face is stunned. I see people that's unaffected, like that's just a safety hunt. Turn around and tell myself, you're not the crazy one. To all the unfazed and not. Insanity and hope and despair. I'm as big as the sun in the sky. My dreams are mild at night. Slow, raw, and numb outside. I dream in the snow. I dream in the snow. Mental hold.
I cannot remember, in my more than 40 years of community activism, seeing a picture much worse than that of the severely beaten face of Jordan Miles. I cannot fathom how the Pittsburgh police could in any reasonable way defend the beating, stomping, choking, and kicking and hair pulling of an unarmed 5'7", 150-pound teenager by 3 armed police officers. Some things just on the surface seem blatantly wrong. This seems to be one of those situations.
We have a young man that was pursuing the best side of life, and now we don't know the trauma that he will have from being attacked by what they say is our city's finest. We need to take a look at what we have done. Because with all the marching for Johnny Gammy and all the protests we made over time, our youth are still suffering. Our young people are going to jail. Some have not even committed a crime.
An extreme twist in the story on the way to Grandma's house has changed from the big bad wolf to 3 scary undercover police.
Come on.
Who are alleged to have brutally beat a black high honor scholar with a tree branch. Believe that's excessive force for no good reason.
I'm speaking to support my fellow classmate Jordan Miles and fight for what I believe is right. Neither Jordan nor does anybody else deserve to be subjected to such violence from the police. It is appalling how police brutality has made people feel they cannot trust the police anymore. I personally have nothing against police, and I do believe there are police who actually care about the people of this city. But when corrupted police are brought to the surface, I believe justice needs to be served.
I know Jordan Miles, and he's a good friend of mine, and he's never done harm to anybody. He's very funny, very smart, and the thing is, I like what he said. We are the future. The future is now.
That's it.
We determine your future. And if you give us this, having police come and beat us while we're trying to do good, what does that say?
Yes.
We can't do anything if you guys just give us negative. It's really hard. And now we're here. We're here to say, we're here to take a stand.
Excuse me. That's the chief food, please. After this, we'll be going into council chambers.
became enraged with frustration and disappointment. My friend, my very close friend, was beaten by people that are only supposed to protect and serve. Why didn't they protect them?
Every single day, I watch young black men approached by our task force. And this is primarily the task force we're referring to, and it is primarily the task force we are asking to be investigated. Where they place things on young men, where it is a crime to be black, where it is a crime to drive in your own neighborhood, where it is a crime to walk in your grandmother's house, where it is a crime to sit at the park, where it is a crime to go to the store, where it is simply a crime to be black. And we are tired of it. We are tired of it. I need you to understand one thing, and I'm going to finish. The work that we have done gets turned completely around by the efforts of the City of Pittsburgh Police Task Force. In one event, we now have to go back and re-explain to these young people why they must adhere to the laws of the land. Thank you.
And you all know and say, we are the future. But yet when we attempt to try to succeed, things like this happen. And I have one question. Will this ever stop? When I was told about the situation that happened with Jordan, I started to cry. My tears were for Jordan, but they were also for my little brother that I had at home. Him growing up in a world where people still don't remember about Martin Luther King's dream, where we can live in peace.
Martin Luther King delivered a speech in 1963. A few days from now, February, Black History Month will take place. And since then, we have moved nowhere. We have a black president in office promoting change, and we have yet to move anywhere since 1963. 47 years later in 2010, and where are we? How do we explain this to children, these children, our children, your children? How do we explain that to them? How do we say that there's still racism, segregation? How do we say that? Where do we move on? Where does the hope lie? Where does it begin? And where does this hostility end? My hope is that something is said and done, that we can actually have freedom. Because we're not free. This is supposed to be the land of the free. We're not free. When you have fear to walk outside your doors, that's not freedom. When you fear to walk down your street, that's not freedom.
When you look in the eyes of these young people behind me, and you see the tears in their eyes, it's a pain of injustice. And until they receive justice, there can be no peace in the street. If we want peace in the street, then we must not just ask for justice for Jordan, but we must demand it. That these people, if found wrong, be brought to the fullest extent of justice. Thank you for your time.
So why are you guys here today?
Well, Jordan's my best friend, and I've known him for 7.5 years now, and I know that he would deserve something like this, so I'm just going to stand up for him and wait until justice is served.
I feel the same way. I've only known him since like freshman year, but I feel like his story needs to be told and justice needs to be served for him.
And that's the same thing for me. I've known Jordan since freshman year, and after hearing what happened to him and then same thing happening to my cousin, I really don't appreciate it, so I'm just here to support them.
So you're one of the main organizers. Why did you decide to do this?
I think it's important to just fight for what I believe is right. What happened to Jordan is just uncalled for. He didn't deserve this. He's a normal student at Kappa, and he didn't deserve to be treated like this. And I took it upon myself to get all my friends together and people at school and support Jordan and fight for what we believe is right.
It's a state of emergency. 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 It's a state Since last warning, I showed you I'm transforming. Like the grains of past through hourglasses shaped by sandstorm wind. Put him in the trance with the recording. Seen a hand swarming in the crowd. I ran towards him and my wingspan soaring. Like I'm Flash Gordon with an aerial view of the mitten next to Ontario. A barrier crew. All we gotta do is let a bang turn it up. I spit these flows till I'm 6 below. My job's to make the revolution irresistible. So listen close. They say it will hurt.